We may not visibly be able to see our thoughts, but they have an energetic structure and an energetic form that goes even beyond our brain, where our mind or our brain is. Now, you could say that our mind actually exists beyond just our brain in the physical location, but actually exists far beyond our body, which, by the way, they've proven that there is an electromagnetic energy that emanates out of your heart field and emanates around your body. That's something that's already proven. Now, here's the interesting thing about thoughts. Within our body, also around our body, we have the accumulated thoughts that we think. When we consistently think certain thoughts and feel certain emotions, it builds up our field in a certain way to where they then stay within the energetic structure of our body. That's when it's easier to create momentum. Think about like Abraham Hicks, who teaches think a better thought. I know I make fun of that concept sometimes because think a better thought, think a better thought. To me, sometimes it feels surface level if you're not looking at the identity side of things and healing. I think feeling it to heal it is also very powerful. But think about it, even with the Abraham Hicks idea, when you are thinking better thoughts, you are building and focusing on what you're thinking about, you are building more and more momentum within your field of more positive thoughts, with thoughts of a higher quality, which then makes it easier and easier for you to tap into them over and over again because there's more of them within your field. When you think of someone else, you are energetically sending them energy. Now, this is why, by the way, it is very important to learn the power of forgiveness and understanding that if you don't forgive someone else, you keep that energy within your own field. That was like me back in 2012, when I went through my awakening, realizing that even though at 15 years old, I never had to see my ex-stepmom again, who was physically, mentally, and like abusive and controlling, even though I never had to see her again in my life, I kept attracting people into my life that reflected back that same energy dynamic. Because within my field, I had a belief that I have to fight for my freedom. I had a belief that said women try to control me. So I'd attract a manager that was trying to control me, an ex-girlfriend that was trying to control me, and I had to fight for my freedom. Because it was in my field, and then I would find myself attracted to other people that would reflect that back to me. So the thing about this is when you direct negative energy at anyone, you may believe it's going towards them, but it has to go through your field and it leaves a residue of that negative energy in your field. So resentment towards someone in your life is staying within your energy field because you have an energetic structure around your body with the accumulated thoughts of what you consistently think and feel. So the power of this is when you start becoming aware of the thoughts that you think. When you start becoming aware of what energy you're trying to direct at someone else. Because remember, all the outer reality is a mere reflection of the energy that's within your thought forms. Your thought forms are literally like thoughts we think are in our mind. There's actually an energetic structure to this. I believe there are people that on the planet understand that the accumulated thoughts of the people affects reality. So if you can control the narrative, if you can control people's minds and therefore you control their thought forms, therefore they may be less empowered and more likely to do the 9-to-5 job they hate. More likely to spend money to agree to this 40-hour-a-week work week thing for a job they hate or whatever it is. Keep people in that limited state. What you must do is take ownership of your own field. You cannot take ownership over what someone else does. What someone else does is what they do. You take ownership for the thoughts that you think, the people that you surround yourself, because remember this, the people that you surround yourself also have their own energetic fields that have within it the accumulated thoughts that they think. When you're around these people, your energy, it literally rubs off on you. Now, if you're of a certain vibration or a quality of thought within your field, it doesn't affect you. You might say, well, okay, everywhere I go, and it's true, everywhere you go, there are thought forms. This is why you go to certain sacred places, you may feel very light. because people are in prayer, they're in sacred thought. You may go someplace like a mall where there's a lot of consumerism, and you may feel a different energy. I'm not saying this, it's gonna sound very bougie. I have not been in a Walmart in like 8 years because I don't enjoy going into a Walmart. I do not enjoy how I feel when I walk through a Walmart. There's so much dense energy in there, in my opinion, at least that's my experience. So I don't go through there. And I understand that where I go, if there are thoughts that are resonating with a certain quality, I will pick up on similar thought forms. But the idea is when say you're on a road and you're driving somewhere and someone cuts you off and you get super triggered. Now you could say, oh, I'm just getting super triggered because someone cut me off. Well, once again, remember, it's not the person that cut you off that triggered you. It's your thoughts about them cutting you off and what that represents to you. It might be that they cut you off, therefore they weren't considering me. It scared me. Whatever it is. I've had times people cut me off and I get pissed. I've had times people cut me off and I'm in such a good state that it doesn't affect me at all. It has nothing to do with me. It wasn't personal. There's a big difference there because then I'm not activating the field inside of myself of that energy. So when you're driving down the traffic, you could get triggered. It could have been as well. There's a lot more thought forms that are in traffic in roads that you drive around through that you then resonate with because there are many people that get cut off on the road. Now, the purpose of this video right now is to help you expand your sense of what consciousness may be and what reality may be. Focus on your own field. Focus on your own energy field. It says right here that thus may we create and maintain veritable guardian angels round those we love, and many a mother's prayer for a distant child thus circles around him, though he knows not the method by which her prayer is answered. The idea is that when you send positive energy, things of a higher quality of vibration towards other people, it does benefit them in a positive way. And when that leaves your field, guess what? You leave the field of those positive thoughts you send towards someone else, it's also within your field. Instead of the negative energy going out, which when people say like what you put out is what you get back, what you put out stays within your field, the intention you have. What you put out good comes back to you as well because you're building your energetic field, the energetic thought forms. Now, for myself, I'll share a couple more esoteric things. Here we go. I'm gonna go deeper on this video. There was an old thing I used to watch called Cosmic Disclosure, and this is more esoteric, but it was someone that was talking about their experiences with talking with different, I guess you could say this, I don't even know how deep I want to go with this. Basically, from a different level of consciousness, someone was talking about their experiences where they interacted with these beings, where what they did, these spiritual meditation state, or maybe it was actually physically, but basically there were these beings that what they would do is they would send energy to that, these little like pockets of energy to that of people on the planet. And what they were able to see is they would get in these little egg pods, and in these little egg pods, they were able to project their consciousness to people on the planet, and they were able to see people's potential timelines and futures. And what they would do is if they wanted to positively impact someone's timeline, they would pop a bubble of information within their energy field that then would go into their field that would affect their timeline in a positive way. Now, I know this sounds esoteric, and maybe I'll start sharing more and more esoteric stuff on my channel. I just know that if you're listening to this and you haven't heard me talk about esoteric stuff like that, you're gonna be like, well, that sounds freaking weird. But nonetheless, imagine, that reminds me of this whole thought form idea. Higher vibrational, higher dimensional beings that are able to, in a way, impact. Remember, we're in a hologram. We're eternal spiritual beings living temporary human experiences. We may not visibly be able to see certain pockets of energy, but what if people in meditation send pockets of energy towards people, and that within it, it's a positive information that goes within their field that affects the potential timelines, the decisions, the energies they embody along the way.